I'm with Oddities, and it's spooky season. It's not really relevant to the video, but just thought I'd mention it. Today, I have to make a video that I really did not want to make, but my hand was forced. Okay, let's stop being dramatic. Today, I will be explaining how Mortal Kombat 1, specifically Mortal Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns, ruined Noob Saibot. Now, if you haven't seen my video discussing why Mortal Kombat 1 ruined Sub-Zero, it's not required viewing, but I would definitely recommend it to see where I'm coming from. A summarized version is that I believe the Mortal Kombat 1 base story greatly reduced Bi-Han's character from a complex and conflicted, morally gray character to a one-note, one-dimensional, evil caricature of not even himself, but who casuals think that he is. So when I saw Mortal Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns get revealed and that Bi-Han seemed to be one of the characters they'd be focusing on with him turning into Noob Saibot, I was scared but also somewhat optimistic that they'd do something interesting with him because Mortal Kombat 1 had done a great job at taking characters that hadn't done anything besides job in a really long time and make them cool again, such as Baraka and Reptile. I went into Khaos Reigns fairly blind, having basically no clue what the story would be going in. But unfortunately, I was very disappointed by the whole thing overall, but especially Noob Saibot. So firstly, Bi-Han as Sub-Zero does show up in the beginning of Khaos Reigns, and he does his usual evil villain, I'm gonna attack my own brother at his wedding because he didn't want to take over the world with me. And I'm not too mad about it. I'm not happy about it either, but I expected it, so oh well. I just wanted to get into the Noob Saibot stuff. But before getting into Khaos Reigns, we have to establish who Noob Saibot was originally. Noob Saibot made his first appearance as a secret character in Mortal Kombat 2. His story in this game was that he was a mysterious figure watching from the shadows as everything unfolded. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 would reveal that Noob Saibot worked for the leaders of the Netherrealm, later confirmed to be Shinnok and Quan Chi with the Brotherhood of Shadows, and he would be ordered to work for Shao Kahn's army during the Outworld invasion. The next time Noob would be an important figure was Mortal Kombat Deception, widely regarded as the best version of him in terms of characterization and story. In this game, with Shao Kahn supposedly dead and Shinnok gone, Noob would find the body of Smoke, reprogramming him to become his pawn and planning to create an army of cyber demons based off of Smoke's technology. But he would be found out and chased by Kuai Liang and Serena, and they'd meet in the Netherrealm. This is when it was revealed that Noob Saibot was actually the resurrected form of Bi-Han, the original Sub-Zero. Kuai Liang, presumably affected by this revelation, would be overpowered by Noob and Smoke, nearly dying before Serena, another person close to Bi-Han before his death and rebirth, saved him. In this game, Noob was calculating. He had his own plans and goals, and he was willing to do anything to get them, including taking control of Smoke and killing his own brother. Noob Saibot is evil. He is Bi-Han with all his humanity stripped away. It's a really tragic place for his character to end up. Bi-Han was incredibly flawed and morally gray as a human, but he still had good in him, in sparing Serena and literally saving the world. But those mistakes that he made led to those redeeming qualities being taken over. You could even say they were overshadowed.
Sorry.
And this was taken even further in Armageddon, where Noob attacks the Lin Kuei Temple and is defeated by Sub-Zero and Taven. Kuai would make an effort to try and restore his brother, but the game makes it explicit that he could not do so by any means, and Noob would remain evil until the Battle of Armageddon and everyone died. Noob Saibot is not supposed to be redeemed. That's one of the major aspects of his character and what makes him unique. You think of a bunch of other characters that have been corrupted and turned evil, and they all get restored somehow. But Noob is different, and that's because he wasn't under any sort of mind control, he wasn't influenced in any way, the dark parts of him were always there. Nothing was put into his brain to make him evil, it was what was taken out that makes him the way he is, and that's why I love this character so much as a whole. People have asked me in the past, do I like Bi-Han as Sub-Zero or Noob Saibot more? But I really see them as both necessary parts to the same overall character and storyline. Now, everything I just said, throw it all out the window for Mortal Kombat 1. Before we even get into Khaos Reigns, this already doesn't work because Bi-Han in the base story has no redeeming qualities whatsoever, so that tragedy of his good actions and good intentions being overtaken by the worst parts of himself is gone because all of him are the worst parts of himself. But let's get to the actual Noob Saibot stuff in this expansion. He's now created by chaos energy or magic from Havoc, and that's a little less poetic than his original origin, just because the Netherrealm is a place where only people with darkness in their hearts or souls can go, since it is a depiction of hell. But that's not a huge deal, and things don't really get bad until Noob Saibot's first appearance at the end of the story. In Khaos Reigns, Noob Saibot is just a lackey or servant for Havoc, spouting the same nonsense about chaos and getting rid of the order so everything can be an anarchy and whatnot. I get that Noob Saibot was never the most independent character, but this is a new low, or at least on the same level of something like MK11. And then he encounters Kuai Liang, and they have an interaction that isn't nearly as memorable or impactful as the moment from MK9.
You are not worthy of the name Sub-Zero.
Who are you to judge?
I wore those colors before you.
Bi-Han?
Yes, Kuai Liang. It is I. Quan Chi restored me.
Restored? You and I both. We are flawed copies of our former selves.
I have no flaws. Quan Chi has perfected me.
For what end? To serve the Netherrealm and Outworld?
It suits my purpose.
But brother,
We share blood. We are not brothers.
Then I will not regret your defeat.
It's kind of insane that that one interaction is better than the entirety of Mortal Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns. But because it's not Kuai's chapter, he gets bodied, and instead, Tanya fights Noob. They really need to get rid of this chapter system, man. This is simple narrative cohesion. The characters with conflict or some sort of relationship with each other should be the ones fighting. But because it's not Noob's chapter, he gets bodied and brought back to Earthrealm. And this is when Liu Kang restores Noob Saibot's soul, turning him back to his Bi-Han thoughts and personality, meaning we don't even get a full chapter of evil Noob Saibot. What was the point then? Like I said earlier, you can't just restore him, especially in a random scene where they just do it and there's no sort of impact or feelings brought out. It just happens. Whoop-de-doo. I'm so glad that a moment that is so important to this character and has never been done before and directly goes against everything established about him just happens. That is just awesome. Screw climactic build-ups, screw narrative satisfaction. From now on, important character moments just happen. And this whole scene makes me wonder, what exactly is Liu Kang doing here? Because he's not taking the corruption out of Noob, because there is no corruption. The person that Noob Saibot is has always been a part of Bi-Han. So Liu Kang would somehow be taking the ability to love and to care, which this Bi-Han is able to do, as we'll get to, and he's somehow putting it back into him, even though they were supposed to be lost. What? And so yeah, Bi-Han, Noob Saibot is restored, and everyone just moves on like that. Kuai doesn't care, Liu doesn't care, Smoke's not even here. The only person who cares is her.
Bi-Han, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
No. Oh, no. Oh.
While our conflict remains, its resolution must wait. It will be moot if we do not stop Havoc.
Guys, my heart.
We agree.
We have his Kamidogu.
No.
That will slow
Oh
him
man,
down.
this is all a rush of
Only
emotions.
if we keep them from him, we can assume he is already on his way. Once in the Temple of the Elements, they will be beyond his reach.
I don't
The
know
others
about
wait
that
for you
one,
outside.
guys.
They will accompany you on the journey.
Okay, I don't want to be a hater. I'm not a hater, guys. I'm not a hater. I'm not going to be a hater. Alright, we're just going to experience the story. I am very, very biased, but this is the worst thing NRS has ever done in a story ever. worse than Sindel killing all the Earthroamers in the same scene, worse than the Combat Kids, worse than D'Vorah killing Hanzo, worse than Twindell, worse than Kronika, worse than the Titans, worse than MK1's entire third act. This is blatant erasure of character. Not just in the literal sense of a character being forgotten about, but also in the sense of these established characters having their storylines, their personalities, their relationships erased for the sake of NRS's weird, fanfic, arcade-era glazing fantasy. I am so sick of this. NRS and MK1 claim to care about 3D era characters, but nearly every single one of them is either ruined or thrown in the backseat in favor of the same old characters whose stories we've experienced 100 times, or who steal stories from these supposedly uninteresting 3D era characters. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Serena filled, or was supposed to fill, the role that Sector plays in this story. Serena was the first one to expose Bi-Han's humanity, showing that he can care, he can love, and that he's not heartless. And a lot of people say, why are you so obsessed with the relationship between people who have only ever had one interaction? Because that one interaction is so integral to both of their characters, especially Serena, who, reminder, is the one being erased here. She never forgot that Bi-Han spared her, and when she found out what happened to him, she made it her mission to do the same for him what he did for her.
It is possible to escape Quan Chi Katana. I can aid you, as Bi-Han aided me.
You became too familiar with Bi-Han, allowed emotion to corrupt you.
Emotion freed me.
He believed she could do better, and she did. And now that he's Noob Saibot, she aims to do the same thing for him. And I get that that potential has never really been explored, so for a lot of the casuals or people who aren't really connected to these characters as much as I am, it can be hard to relate to how I'm feeling, but this was their chance. This was their opportunity to give this story the limelight it deserves and handle it to the best it can possibly be that they just weren't able to do back then. What's that series by the Force Snake? Wasted potential? This is wasted potential. Instead of letting a 3D era character have a storyline, have a relationship, do something meaningful to not just the story, but to the audience, us, the fans, NRS would rather gender swap an arcade era character with an entirely different story and personality, and who had never had an important relationship with Bi-Han ever, and give them that 3D era character's story and relationship. This narrative that MK1 was fixing or redeeming these 3D era characters after they've been mistreated is completely out the window. Putting these characters in only to leave them as cameos or jobbers or completely changing them to be more like the arcade era classic characters is not treating them well. And I don't want to hear that NRS cares until they've actually made an effort to adapt these characters and their storylines. And people will say that I'm only going on this rant for a stupid ship, but that's not really what this is about. I am the last person to care about that sort of stuff, and I only really lean into it in some videos as a joke, but I just care about these characters being done justice and being represented well, and I'm so sick of them being neglected and thrown to the wayside. Damn. I should have called this video How Mortal Kombat 1 Ruined Noob Saibot and Serena. Anyways, after this, Noob would be the final chapter of the story, and I'll give credit where it's due. That's really cool. They try to do this whole story arc thing with him where he has this huge ego and keeps wanting to fight everyone. That's some Power Rangers episode level stuff there, I'm just gonna be honest. He defeats Titan Havoc and story just ends right there. Wow. I already talked about Khaos Reigns as a whole in my review though, so check that out for my full thoughts. But yeah, what a huge disappointment, and it's not even like I had especially high hopes, but somehow the bar has been lowered. At least Noob gets his MK9 mask, and at least I can pretend that he's been written well when I play as him using Serena as my cameo, so that's great. But you guys tell me in the comments, am I wrong here? Am I a hater who's negative all the time and can't accept change? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, make sure to check out the links in the description to my merch store, Twitter, and Instagram. Also give this video a like to show your support, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to know when I next upload. And with that being said, that's it for this video, my fellow Waddities. I'll see you next time.